Hi, welcome to the Visitation here on St. Gabriel Catholic Radio. I'm Mary Beth Eberhard here with my very good friend Lisa Iglesias.
So good to be with you, Mary Beth.
It's good to see you too, lady. Hey, funny thing happened the other day in the Eberhard home.
Okay.
You're like, bring it on. That could be
Absolutely.
funny. No, I got some eye rolling. It happens on occasion in my home. And it so happened when one of the phrases that tends to come out of my mouth, I thought it was a good time to pull it out. But my older adult child who, can we just say adult child?
It's amazing. Yes.
Yes. Your adult children who are still your children.
Yeah, forever.
Right. So
Sweet babes.
they're so amazing and they are growing and learning life.
Yes.
Right. And I will always be their mother. And they will they will always love me, but they will probably always have moments of annoyance with me butting into their lives. I'm never going to stop. This particular moment was where one of my kids was trying to solve a problem and the other one butted in, and words and, maybe a little shoulder shove here or there might have happened. I got there and I was like, hey, Dad says we act, we don't react. And what you guys are totally reacting here, and they just looked at each other like, you're kidding, right? Like, we could take this outside, solve this so much faster.
She's going to make us talk. And then we're probably going to have to hug.
Kumbaya.
Oh.
No, I think that's what they think I'm looking for, is a little care and share session. That's what they call it. But, I was reflecting on kind of the family catchphrases, if you will, that they've grown up with over the years. And, and yes, we talked through that where I was like, you guys were quick here, and what you needed to do was, take a moment to look at the other person's perspective. I still think they're like, look, just let us push punch. We'll be fine. They're done. But there are phrases within my family that as my kids grow older, I hear them using, and it's actually a beautiful thing.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was thinking about you because you are a little farther on the journey
True.
than I am. You have grandbabies and you have kids who are parents. And so you're watching them. I pray that my kids take the good, and I know there's plenty of bad that they've, they're sifting, what is it? Sifting the wheat, sifting, the grains.
Yeah. The chaff from the wheat.
Yeah. Something like that. But do you ever sift the flour when you bake? It says to, but I don't.
I never did. And then I tried it and I thought, oh, I'm being so special right now. And then I didn't see much of a difference.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
But I don't bake that much anymore.
But I'd love to make bread.
Oh, you make amazing.
It's just soothing for me.
The last loaf of bread you baked and handed to me warm, by the way, no one else got to have any. I ate it. A quarter of it on the way home.
Oh,
and
good. It was sourdough. It's very good for you.
That's what I told myself.
Hey, again, we talk about catchphrases. Maybe we need some like that for ourselves. But I was thinking about what it will be like to be a grandmother, or even just a mom who has children who are married, and hear them say things that we have said in our family and think like, oh, that's stuck. Yeah. And how beautiful that would be. Yeah. And so when I was like, ooh, what could those be? I wrote some down and I wanted to share them with you. But then what I really wanted to, it's kind of like getting to know people differently, right? Because the beauty of our friendship is that we're different, and yet we share this, the same love.
It always surprises
of our faith, right?
Us when we're like, oh, really, you do too?
Yeah. Or when I find something about you. So for like, I love that your family loves Star Wars. I don't. My kid, you do. Like,
well, the original.
Yes.
Four.
I know.
4, 5, 6.
I know. But I love that about you guys, like that. But and you have a thing that is like uniquely yours, right? And the Eberhards have theirs. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm sure we do. But so I wrote some down, and I wanted to share with you.
Yes.
Okay. So the first one that I thought about is that we say trust is built over time, and I use that. I use it well, and sometimes. I think sometimes too much. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think I would probably use it as a zinger. I would throw that in.
Zinger.
Really angry. Like, you know what? My friend, trust.
But
I'm sure it probably comes out in a more serene tone.
Sometimes it does, right? When you're sitting with a child who has made a mistake, and you have to explain to them that like St. Teresa of Avila, like mercy is real. We get to begin again, but trust is built over time. And so there's a little backtrack here now. And that's going to be hard. We get to begin again, but, and I think the caveat there for it, trust being built over time with them is that, it's not something I zing at them. I always have to say, this is for me too. This is for me too.
Yeah.
All right. Because it's easy to be like, you let me down.
Yeah.
Happens a lot. Right. But to sit with them and be like, I realize that I let you down. And so knowing that trust is built over time, I'm going to have to ask to begin again. And that humility is beautifully angsty and hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's raw. It's
raw.
It's that, but that's where God works the best, right? In that place.
Yeah, it's vulnerability. But I was thinking about your family, and I was like, what are some of their catchphrases? And I was, my kids have had the blessing of Deacon Doug, kind of walking with them and through some of their life moments. And he, there was one he talks about a lot, but, and I think Peter actually uses it about like the toolbox.
Oh yeah.
How exactly does he say it?
Well, he talks about having tools in the toolbox or in your tool belt, and that, I love it because it's very manly. I remember my dad, had a tool belt when I was a kid, and I, thought it was amazing. Like, my kids say when they see me with the hairband and I'm pulling up my hair, watch out, because that means we're cleaning for the next few hours, and mom is serious, but for me, when dad would pull out that tool belt, it was like wonder. He was going to fix something unfixable, and he still does it to this day. But I digress. But but what Doug shares is about it's kind of what you were alluding to at the beginning, just like the idea of reacting, like you guys were reacting. You guys came at that really quickly, and trying to get your kids to like, have a conversation and let's say apologize or whatever. And, and so the tool belt is like having, a response for a situation that would be a hard one. So like when they were growing up and, bullying would start at school, and, with the, the kids, everybody gets to experience it at some level, sadly.
Deep in the heart of Miami.
Deep in the heart of Miami, Florida. Yeah. So they, he would talk through stuff with them, always like doing something or going somewhere, and they would like chat this and that. And they would talk about, well, you could have, if this situation happens, you can do this, or, and so then they since they talked about it, it was a meaningful conversation, you could recall it. And so we've used that as they've gotten older. I'm not ashamed to say, I know I was leaving the example, but I'll go back to it. But I'm not ashamed to say mostly it was them push the kid back. And if they call me from the office, I'm glad to come in and we can go home and get some ice cream. But like, that's not, anyway, so but even now, as they've gotten older, he will talk. He'll still, talk with the adult kids, but even the kids at home, saying like, well, you need to have these things in your tool belts for whether it's like you're driving and your tire goes flat. This is what you do. 2 things to be thinking like about yourself in a hard situation. Like I'm good. I'm amazing. I can do this. I have done hard things before. And so it sounds like these are just like little mantras or something. Maybe they are. I don't know. But like the other thing is like the other things like in my tool belt. So then I have like one from growing up and being married. So I have a marriage tool belt, like and in my heart, right, in your brain. And it would be things like it's an incredible, useful phrase that we use. Even he's shared with couples that he prepares for marriage. And, it's a hard situation, words were shared, and you want to get a point across, but reacting means you cry and you yell and you say, you're so mean and things like that. And, or you get in the car and you drive away and so, he starts with, okay, first of all, that's not an option when you get in a fight. And then second of all, a phrase like, what I hear you saying is, and you fill in the blank. And then the person has a chance to go, whoa, I did not say that you are a bad housekeeper. I did not say that. I didn't mean to. Is that not that I didn't say it? I did not mean to say that. I meant this. And it could be something totally different. Like, can we just put the shoes in a closet or a box? Or something different. Says,
what I hear you saying.
What I hear you saying is this. And then it's actually hard to do because you can feel your heart beating really fast. And you're like, okay, I need a tool. I'm gonna not be a jerk. And how could I say something, that gets an actual positive situation where we can actually work together? Because we are so different, right?
Mm-hmm. You're listening to The Visitation here on St. Gabriel Catholic Radio. I'm Mary Beth Eberhard here with Lisa Iglesias, and we're talking about family catchphrases and just the joy of seeing them used by our children, but also recognizing how they teach us in the process. And I love how you were talking, Lisa, about Deacon Doug's tool belt reference, because I love, like there's a metaphor in there. It's very concrete, especially for the boys, your sons and mine as well. But I think it goes for everyone, the tool belt where you have this, the physical, like if the car breaks down. But I could see in the conversation being like, okay, so what do you have in your spiritual tool belt? In these moments when you're feeling low, you're feeling depleted, what do you have? What's your go-to? For me, in my tool belt, I have my rosary. I have this, right? What's yours? And because as parents, it's often like, well, what you need is. But the recognition that I'm learning is that like, it's like a buffet that you have to offer them, right? And it's like, okay, look in your tool belt. You're beautifully Catholic. You've got lots of choices. What's your go-to? Here's mine. My go-to is the rosary, or Dad's go-to is to go and take a walk and really have that conversation with the Lord. What tool do you have in your toolbox? What are you going to use? Which one are you going to pull out? So I think that's a beautiful metaphor. It's serious, right? But then I was also thinking about like, there are family catchphrases that are funny, that like, but also have purpose. Long time ago when the station started up, I think there was it was like a commercial or a little something where it was something about like driving and road rage, right? It was like getting angry. And then this beautiful, one of the beautiful voices on the commercials here at St. Gabriel's, but it was like the person responded with, "May the blessing of Christ be upon you." My kids thought that was the funniest thing ever. They died. And to be quite honest, and again, keeping it really real, like it became almost like someone would pull up in front and they'd be like, "May the blessing of Christ be upon you." But now it's become like, sometimes I don't even like, I don't even say it, but I think it.
Wow.
Because I'm more because I'm ready to act and not react.
Right.
Or no, I'm ready to react, not act. But there's those phrases where it's like they're like silly, fun ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think if we have any. Do you guys have any of those that like your kids?
Oh, it's constant in our house, and it's actually funny because we think that we, for a long time, thought everyone talked like this, and
the Iglesias have their own language. It is clear.
Apparently not, but a lot of things, like you mentioned Star Wars, like there's Star Wars, Ratatouille, Ice Age. There's a lot of movies that give lots of excellent.
But how do you use them? Because I love that because you're kind of taking, and this is the beautiful thing, you're taking the movies. Father Shock does this all the time, and it's like a gift. And you're like rebaptizing them in a way where you take those phrases and they become mantras of support and
it's usually just funny things, little I can't right off the top of my head I'm trying to think.
Okay, Ratatouille, tell me. What's one from Ratatouille that you guys don't know? I'm curious.
I mean, anything the chef says, if I'm like, so in my youthfulness, I'll like get my words all mixed up and I'll forget something that I want to say, or I'll call the kids by the wrong name or a grandchild's name or the grandchild, my son's name, whatever. And, the chef yells at Linguini, like, so what are you blathering about? And whether I actually say it or just think it makes me laugh, and it reminds me, like, it's not that big of a deal. Let's just get yourself back together. And
no, I love that. And I'm imagining Justin, your oldest, sometime in the kitchen, saying something like that.
Well, anything like
his son and
like,
daughter.
The soup, I don't know, anything. It's just funny little things that, yeah.
I think every family must have beautiful little weird sayings, right? But how they draw you together. So like, that I tend to like, I have like the, trust is built over time, or what's another one? We say like our days start and end with mercy. And yes, these are holy ones, but we also have the like, thou shalt not, who said, what is it? Someone taught me that. Oh, Marianne Jepson. Thou shalt not should upon themselves. Right?
Yes.
And as yes, and my kids actually love that because it's on the
right
edge.
There, yeah.
It's on the edge.
We had a pastor who he used to say that in a homily back in Florida, and he was, he's quote very beloved, not because he was so like perfectly eloquent or whatever, he was just so real. I mean, when his homilies, he would be, and that was one thing he said one time in a homily, and it stuck forever, is stop shitting on yourself.
Yeah.
And his point was there's just so many people of faith and in the Catholic Church who just really feel unworthy. And he's like, and like for him, like, let me explain again, what makes you worthy to, it's Jesus, it's his death on the cross, it's all these different things. But he would say, so stop doing, like, he's like, that is a block for you.
It's a beautiful, like, again, when you're raising kids, especially as they get older, or even the younger, Sarah's turning 12. Can you believe it? No. She'll be 12 in just a few weeks. They like that edge where they know, what I was teaching pronouns the other day, and I was teaching them like I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, and they just looked at me and they started saying it fast and fast, and they were like, if you put it really fast, we can, put a word in there. And I was like,
so clever.
They're so clever, right? So phrases.
Say it again, Mom.
No,
say it again.
I was like, we're not going to do it again. But we have. But there's conversation that can come out of that with thou should not should upon themselves, right? It's like, but Mom, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And, I have, lately it's, I should be trying out for this musical, or I should be practicing harder for this team, or, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And where does that lead us in conversation? The beautiful thing about, tool belts or mercy or trust or all those things is that like it leads us to what's asking? Where's God in this? What's God asking of us of you in this moment? And I appreciate these family catchphrases, if you will, because they help direct me. They root, is that the right word? Ground me as a parent. They ground me as a person, because often they're for me as well, right? We talk a lot about the mistakes we make as moms and wives, because they're real every day. And
we remember them more.
Right. I mean, we do.
Than the good.
And we talk, I was saying like our days start and end with mercy. And that's so real. Right. But to be able to give that to ourselves, to give that to myself, and, at the end of the day, and be like, or even keeping it really real at the beginning of the day, when I wake up and I'm depleted and I'm like, this is going to be a great one.
You start from empty, right?
Right. But it starts with mercy. And mercy is real. It's living. And I want my kids to grow up with that. And I also want to give that gift. Well, the Lord gives that gift to me, to you. So one thing also that I get from your family, Deacon Doug says this. He says, tell me about that. Tell me about that. And
it really disarms.
It does,
the
because
whole conversation.
It throws it back. And not that you're deflecting.
No, the person wants to tell you.
Yeah.
And you really can't. I don't know. There's sometimes, right, your emotions are running so high that that for me, like sometimes I'll actually forget, like, what was the original? Where did this start from? But because now I've let it snowball into something more, crazy. And so tell me more about that. Oh my gosh, it really makes you feel seen. It makes you feel.
I've heard you say it to me.
Well,
so many times.
Thank God I've learned a little something along the way. But I mean it. Like I don't. You really, it really feels. Be careful if you use it. Make sure you use it genuinely, right? Because you really mean it. I mean, I mean it. Like I don't. Tell me, I don't understand, or I want to know, or I want to know better how to pray. And yeah, I think that's one of those that isn't necessarily like, maybe it's a tool, but I think it's a genuine kind of like, I see you, I see you. I have no concept of what you're walking through, even if everything looks perfect and you only are hearing something that's going on in me, kind of a thing. Yeah.
But that kind of catchphrase is beautiful in that, again, I'm always about teaching or modeling and looking forward, having that vision of, because the goal is, yes, I want to be in heaven. I also want to get my people there too. Right. And I envision, my Samuel, my Peter, my Liz, even, going down the line as they're older, Joey, Paul, Lil and Sarah. Did I get everybody? And Gabe, but saying to their person, in those, like, why don't you tell me about that? Even like in college, like, they've got a roommate and it's like, tell me about that.
Right. Instead of us launching into like what you said. And I think it's really crucial as they're getting older, because they really don't want us to micromanage their life. And
I'm learning.
And we, well, me too, because we have the two olders and then the youngers. I kind of forgot like how, and maybe I just never learned, right, and how to actually mother these olders. But another one too, I think, and it works. It doesn't work well on me. It sounds really horrible. I receive it very positively. Is, like to take this season of life right now. We're like done with one school year, going into the next, but there's summer, right? So I was really wanting to just suck the marrow out of every single day, kind of, even if it's rest, just like make rest, like crazy rest day, pajamas till 2:00, but anyway, but a few things have popped up where I'm, really felt like I really want to go visit my parents. And so I brought that up to Doug, and not that I worried that he would say, no, you can't, or you can't, because we make those big decisions together, like I'll be gone for a week, and, I'm going to lots of gas and, to get there, pay for gas and stuff. But anyway, but he always says, and I haven't realized that. I mean, if he has like a concern, he'll voice it, of course, like, oh, wait, do we have this to do? Yeah, maybe it's not good this week. But he always says, even if it's a quick test, he'll be like, I support you. And I am like renewed in a way that I'm like, oh, because it says, I trust your judgment. I respect your desire to go see your parents. Or, we got the call to babysit, and it was like, I know I just got back from this place. I support you. And I realized that, I use it, not use it like using a tool, but like, well, I guess so, but it comes to mind more and more frequently. And it's one of those, like a muscle, you'll use it more frequently. So I do that with my older kids. So like the ones in college, just like, they're in the middle of all those big decisions. Everything is a big decision. And I'm like, you know what? You have a good head on your shoulders, and God is with you. And I support you whenever you decide to do there. And you just hear this, like, you can hear the breath. You can hear the peace. Like, okay, they still have the hard decision, but like, there's this piece of like, whoa, okay.
I love what you said about the toolbox. And the reality is, in our family catchphrases, God is in the tool, the toolbox. God is using our catchphrases. They are a tool for us. And so I think this has been really helpful for me to realize that there's good, not just humor in our catchphrases, but that they have a purpose. And so I invite everyone to really just think about, laugh with their families, laugh with each other, and pray on the phrases that anchor your family in faith and anchor you all together. And Jesus, we just thank you for our families. We thank you for your presence in them, and we ask you to watch over and bless us. Thanks for joining us here on the front porch. We'll see you next time.